Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, as you probably are aware, Demon Slayer's 4th season, the Hashira training arc, started airing today. Many of you, like myself, may have forgotten everything that's happened up until this point, so in this video I will try to help you re-jog your memory by looking back and ranking every single fight in Demon Slayer. With that being said, sit back, relax, grab your favorite Nezuko body pillow, and enjoy. In dead last, we have this fight with these random 3 demons who could go like in the floor. Oh my god, I hated this fight. First of all, it was long as shit, but the reason why I hated it is one of them had this weird move where it would like grind its teeth together to make this like ear rape noise. Dude, it hurt me in real life. That's how strong the move was. It was so annoying. Last place. In second to last place, when Tanjiro is in the final selection arc, he just killed like these 2 default demons. Tanjiro and Nezuko versus Gyu is definitely like a decent fight, I guess. We see Tanjiro use his head by throwing the axe behind the tree. I mean, he's fine. I just didn't understand why like Gyu didn't insta kill Nezuko. That's the only thing that like just didn't make sense to me on rewatch. I mean, this fight was just lame, I'm gonna be honest. This demon literally stood still and was just hitting drums the entire time. Like, this was such a weird and just stupid fight. For our first fight in the Met here, it was Tanjiro and Nezuko versus some random demon in episode 2. It was like a decent showing of how demons work in the universe, showing that like, even if you take their head off, they won't die. You need to like expose them to sunlight or use swords, obviously designed specifically for killing demons, but it was still just eh. I mean, it was cool seeing them work together, but it was literally against a nameless, headless demon that was being controlled by some spider woman. Like, it was just cool, I guess. But the fight itself had no substance. This fight, I remember watching it when it came out, and it was just kind of a letdown because I don't know if they were saving budget. I'm pretty sure that's what they were doing. But this fight, he used like no actual breathing moves. It was just brain dead swings against like a fourth of upper fours, full power, I guess. So it was just kind of boring to watch. And then for our final fight in the Met here, we have Tanjiro and Nezuko versus the Ball Demon and Arrow Demon. This fight lasted way too long, like way too long. And the biggest problem with Season 1 Demon Slayer, especially the early part of Season 1, is they're fighting the most like nameless monkey demons that I don't give a fuck about. But after you get through it, the show's pretty much only uphill from there. We are finally in the decent tier, and I would say all these fights from here on out are pretty good to watch, pretty entertaining. The reason they're in the decent tier is they just might be lacking in some aspect. In 20th place, we have Rengoku versus some random demon in the Mugen Train. It was cool just because of how cool Rengoku is. That's more or less all I can say. In 19th place, we have Tanjiro versus Inosuke. I know you probably didn't expect this one to be on here. This sequence, I didn't remember having such like good hand-to-hand combat. It's like one of the only fights in the entire show where it's actually just hand-to-hand combat versus swords fighting, and the choreography with the fight was actually pretty good. I literally just wrote this down as everyone versus the belt. I put this fight up here because Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tengen all had pretty interesting and badass entrances. I honestly think this fight had a lot of potential, but they like didn't show a lot of it because they wanted to focus on Tanjiro's fight, which I mean, I guess. I think the biggest problem with this fight is Upper 4 did not have a personality at all. That's the biggest problem with Season 3. Upper 4 and Upper 5 were just boring as hell compared to Gitaro and Daki. And then for our final fight in the Great Tier, we have Inosuke getting bodied by this big ass spider. We're like, this thing's OP as fuck. Gyu comes in. At this point, this is our first time seeing a Hashira really in action, and we were like, okay, Hashiras are a little bit OP. Starting off our great tier, we have Tanjiro versus the big ass demon in the final selection in episode 4. This was like the first like real demon he fought, like a real threatening one instead of some nugget no-name demon. Its presence, like Tanjiro was just scared, just like smelling it. He avenged all of the students from that water Hashira. It was the first time we saw him really using like a breathing form. It was just a good introduction to what the show would be like. So we're back to the Mugen Train. Rengoku fights some random nugget demon. Although unlike the last demon I mentioned, this was the first demon he fought. This was our first introduction to Rengoku as a Hashira, and he did not disappoint as the Flame Hashira. He bodied this no-name demon. Like, it was a little excessive, I'm gonna be honest, but it was just animated so well and it was just so cool I had to put it up here. Next up, we have Nezuko versus Daki. Nezuko went through some like weird transformation and just became like a menace. It was just very unexpected watching Nezuko just randomly be able to just skyrocket to like upper demon levels. I mean, not upper demon, but almost upper demon. The fact that she's just bodying Daki around, it was just pretty badass, I can't lie. So for our 12th and final fight in the Great Tier, this one could have made it into the Legendary Tier. The problem is the demon they were fighting, that weird train demon, I don't even know its name. It was just kind of boring as a demon itself. One thing I really liked about this fight was every character made like a really badass entrance. Inosuke's punching through the ceiling, Nezuko's fighting all the tentacle things off, she's about to be attacked, and then Giga Chad Zenitsu just flies through the whole train with his lightning. Oh, just so badass. And then Of course, Rengoku just being himself. It was a very cool fight. Also, the fact that Tanjiro had to keep killing himself was it was an interesting touch, because that was pretty hardcore, I can't lie. Even for like Demon Slayer standards, it was pretty hardcore. The mental strength to be able to just keep doing that, even though you know it's fake, takes a lot. Overall, the fight could have been legendary, but what happened right after they beat this demon is kind of what overshadowed it, in my opinion. For my astute viewers, you guys might realize there are 11 fights in the legendary tier, when previously all my other tiers had like 4 to 5 fights. That's because Demon Slayer knows what they're doing, bro. In 11th place, we have Giyu versus Rui. Tanjiro just got done with his massive fight against this dude. He does this ultra move. We're like, oh my god, Tanjiro beat a lower moon. This dude's somehow not dead. We're like, brother, come on. This demon is so OP. He just surpassed a protagonist main power up. Giyu walks up. This guy starts charging his most giga ultimate move. We're like, oh no. Literally no diss him. I was like, like, okay, you know what? He's the GOAT. GOAT status. This fight was just to show the audience like the difference between like even like the lower moons versus the Hashira. The Hashira are just so unbelievably OP. In 10th place, I have my glorious King Zenitsu. Bro, when I first saw this episode, I was thinking to myself, yo, why is Zenitsu in the show? He's so annoying. Stands up, he's asleep. We're like, hello? Completely different person. He gets in his stance. We're like, what is bro about to do? At this point in the show, this was the coolest thing we've seen by like a country mile. When I saw this, I'd do like 6 double takes. I was like, huh? Yeah, Zenitsu is my glorious king, bro. That was just so badass. In 9th place, we have Tanjiro in his like weird rage trance against Daki. Bro just decided he wasn't going to breathe anymore and just started going insane against Daki. The animation, everything about this fight was crazy. Also, what I really liked about it is he started giving Daki a speech, and Muzan's cells in her started like freaking out, just being like PTSD reminded of Yoriichi. It was just so badass how cool he was in this scene. In my 8th place spot, I have Everyone versus Daki and Gyutaro, part 1 of this fight. This fight had a lot of cool moving parts to it. I think Zenitsu had a pretty badass entrance, honestly. Seeing Tengen and Tanjiro versus Gyutaro was really fun to watch, although Tanjiro was more or less kinda useless. He was helping here and there. I liked at the end when Inosuke did his beast charge, and Zenitsu and Tanjiro had to like block him while he charged in to cut off Daki's head. Overall, the fight was really fun, but I'm just putting the part 1 of this fight down here. Obviously, there's a part 2, but you know. In 7th place, we have another fight from my glorious king who carried season 1 on his back. Zenitsu versus this random spider. Once again, he passes out and just completely changes into a different person. This time, he had aura. He had a charge up, bro. Good old-fashioned anime charge ups are always appreciated. The whole area started shaking. This spider's like, dog, what is this? This is not fair. Dude opens his eyes, does some crazy fling across all the trees, and just launches himself through the shack and just rips this thing's head off. Zenitsu is just so badass when he's asleep, dude. He's just such a goat. In 6th place, I have Tanjiro and Nezuko versus Rui. A lot of people would put this fight higher, but I don't know. I personally don't think the fight's that entertaining. It has a really cool ending, obviously. It's when Tanjiro learns how to sun breathe for the first time using the Hinokami Kagura. This move was definitely badass when I first saw it. The music and the animation just kind of went crazy in the scene. Then seeing Nezuko unlock her blood demon art to like burn her blood that only affects demons and their moves. Tanjiro got in, cut the head off. Overall, very cool fight. Just personally, I don't really think it's as entertaining as some other ones. In 5th place, I got Muchiro versus Gyoko in episode 9 of season 3. When Muchiro unlocked his Demon Slayer mark, oh my god. First of all, the shit talk from Muchiro was crazy. He was just shit talking like crazy. He was like, your vase is ugly, your moves are cool, but they can't hit me, so they're shit. Gyoko's like, only 3 people have ever seen me in this final form. And he's like, oh, so that's a lot. Bro creates this crazy mist cloud. Gyoko's freaking the hell out. Muchiro's like, so what gave me the idea that I also was trying my hardest earlier? And then just one taps him. Like, the last season, they used everything they had to barely be upper 6. Then Muchiro just solos upper 5, like, without breaking a sweat. Like, what? In 4th place, I have Tanjiro killing upper 4 at the end of season 3. This fight, I feel like it could have been better. The biggest problem for me is upper 4 was just such a boring character. Like, he didn't even have a personality. His personality was literally just basic emotions when he split up. Like, the angry one was angry. The sad one was sad. When they merged together, it was just nothing. It was just like, it didn't have any screen presence at all. I have to put it up here though, just because the animation and some of the moves he did were just so insanely cool. Plus, the emotional weight of him having to choose between Nezuko and saving everyone by killing upper 4. At that point when I was watching it, I didn't know Nezuko was going to stay alive from the sun, so I was like, damn. He killed upper 4 in the most badass way. Crazy fire and lightning animation. Nezuko survived. Happy ending. Clap, clap, clap. Great fight. In our third place, I don't really know if I can consider this like a fight because there's more like a 2-second skirmish, but when Tanjiro got the flaming sword from Nezuko in episode 5 of season 3, and he used sun breathing against Upper 4. Oh my god, this was one of the most glorious sequences in the entire show. I'd put this at like number 1 or 2 for me, just like sequence of like a few seconds. It was so badass. The way all of the demons saw Yoriichi and him and were just shitting themselves from PTSD. It was just so cold, bro. Tanjiro was so tough in this moment. I don't know why he just pulled this out of his ass, but he needs to do it more. But, I mean, just because it was so short and so fast, I had to put it down here. But, don't get me wrong, this was one of the greatest sequences in all of Demon Slayer. Okay, so I know I have number 1 and 2 in the legendary tier, but these two deserve a tier all on their own. In second place, I'm putting Rengoku versus Akaza. When Akaza appears, this is the first time we saw an upper demon. This brother had aura. When we saw him, I was like, who is this motherfucker? Him and Rengoku had the most legendary fight. Tanjiro was like, bro, I can't even jump in. I can't even see what they're doing. Inosuke's like, I know in my bones if I jump in, I will die instantly. Such good music, such good soundtrack, such good animation, such badass characters. Finally, we have a fight with two characters that are both just Giga Chads. They both use their ultimate moves. They have the most crazy standoff. Rengoku has such a sad death. Overall, this fight was so peak. And I'm kind of envious for those who got to see it in theaters because I didn't get to see it in theaters. I wasn't into Demon Slayer at this point when it came out. But yeah, this fight was definitely legendary as hell to watch. And then in our number 1 spot, none of you should be surprised. It's Everyone vs. Daki and Gyutaro Part 2. When everything seemed lost, everyone seemed dead but Tanjiro. Tanjiro creates a 1 in a million chance to almost put Gyutaro down. Daki comes in trying to save her brother. My glorious King Zenitsu comes flying out. She's like, I know how fast your move is. I've seen it a million times. I was like, yeah, what is bro gonna do? Bro goes Thunderclap and Flash. Godlike speed. When I saw this, my jaw was like, aha! Dude, oh my god, this fucking move gives me goosebumps every time. This is when Zenitsu became like one of my favorite characters in Demon Slayer. It was just so badass. Just the definition of speed blitzing. Tanjiro's getting pushed back by Gyutaro. He gets the kunai out of his leg. It all looks like it's about to be over for Tanjiro. Tanjiro's 1 HP, literally 0.1 nanometer from getting smashed through the face. And then our glorious King Tenyin comes flying back. We're like, huh? I thought he died. Nah, he didn't die. He's the GOAT. Fight starts coming back, bro. Everyone starts going crazy. The sequence between Tengen and Gyutaro, one of the greatest things I've ever gotten to witness in my life. This fight is not only the best fight in Demon Slayer, it is, in my opinion, the best fight in anime. I have yet to see a fight better than this. I know there are some fights in the next few years that we're going to see from other animes. I'm not going to spoil what. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. That could surpass this. But as of right now, this is my favorite fight. The reason why this fight is so good, in my opinion, is because they knew how to build tension like no other fight. And they got everyone down. We thought everyone was dead. Tanjiro was 0.1 HP, and then everyone comes back in miraculous ways. It took 110% from every single one of them to barely win in the most theatrical, beautiful way I've ever seen. Such peak, bro. This is the fight for me that I was like, alright, Demon Slayer is now one of my favorite shows. This fight just does what most animes try to do in fights, but just can't replicate. I'm a little disappointed Season 3 didn't have any fights as good as this. That's the reason why this fight is above all the Season 3 ones. In the Season 3 fight, there wasn't enough tension in my opinion. Like, this fight did tension way better. I know in the Infinity Castle arc, there's going to be some great fights from what I've heard. But if they can't outdo this fight, I'll be a little disappointed, but it will be really hard. But yeah, that's my list. I think this is the greatest fight in all of anime and all of Demon Slayer. Let me know what you guys would have put in your top 5 down below. Subscribe, please. It helps out a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.